Hey, everybody. Greetings, greetings,
Hi.
greetings.
Peace and
Hey,
love.
Greetings.
Sequestra Satawi from Voices from Wise Women. So have sisters from all over the globe, and we are here to talk about wise women in showbiz. So I'm Sequestra Satawi. I'm going to be the host, and I want everybody to subscribe to Earth Mama Network, and make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, you like, and you link it up. All right, so we definitely want to do that. Everybody subscribe to that. Every time we come together, I always do these 30 seconds of silence so I can bring everybody into the room. So today I pull my card, and I always pull a card, and I also have a calendar, and it says today, I know that the past is over, so it has no power over me. The thought of this moment are creating my future. And then when I pull the card, once again, it says the point of the power is always to be in the present. So it's talking about the past is over. So someone definitely needs to hear that the past is over. Let's let it go. Let's move forward and we move into it. So yeah, two of them, same thing. The past is over. So what you think about today will affect tomorrow. So we're going to do our 30 seconds of silence. People can breathe in, breathe out. And we want everyone just to bring their soul, bring their spirit into this group so we can get information and add it out. So I do this, I'll hit everybody knows my little singing bowl, and then we'll close our eyes 30 seconds. And then when I hit it again, then we'll be back in the room and we'll move forward. So take a deep breath in, close our eyes, and all right. Thank you. So we are all here, we all present, we are ready to move forward. I'm so excited. I am so excited because we have some powerful sisters here today that been trying to reach, and I just don't know what to say. I'm so excited. So I pulled our card, we talked about that. So first person I want to introduce is we have Nima Black, who's a singer. We have V Khalid, and V Khalid runs a workshop. She's a poet as well. Tanae Carter does all kind of plays, movies, and then we have Lady Paulette, who's from London. And so it's 8 o'clock in London, so we appreciate her being here, and she's going to talk about what she's been doing as well. So let's start off with Nima talking about what you've been doing. Introduce yourself to the group.
Well, peace and love, everyone. I'm Naima Black. I'm from San Diego, California. I am a vocalist and a songwriter. I have been in a band. We do old school R&B music and actually a variety of cover music. And I also write originals and have been recording my own originals. And since COVID hit, of course, we have not been able to perform. So I've been missing that aspect of the music, but I've been exercising my creativity in other ways. So glad to be here with you all and looking forward to learning more from the other sisters.
Okay, great. Let's say V Khalid. Come on, V, tell us what's going on.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're in is the present.
Right.
Thank you for that beginning, Sequestra. I am a poet, writer, vegan culinary artist, calligrapher, actress, mama, grandma, nana, and great grandmother. And so I'm being a midwife and a doula. I'm just living my best life. And looking forward to this time we're in. I'm thankful for this time we're in because it gives me a chance to rest because I ain't never rested in my life. So this is the rest of my life. Yes.
Yes.
I'm loving it. I'm learning from it, and I ain't scared of nothing.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
All right. So Tanae, what's going
Yes.
on? Been a while.
Woo! None but the rent. No, just kidding. So I am an actress, educator, and producer. NAACP Theater Award winner. Woo!
Yay.
And currently, I've been teaching. I've been teaching theater online, which has been a very new experience, and I'm learning every day. But also using my creative forces in another way and doing more writing, and eventually getting to stage readings online and eventually in person when the theaters open back up, and still auditioning online. So it's been new and it's been cool because it does force us to be creative in new ways we didn't think we would have to be,
Yep.
and it opening up more things for us within. So
Yes.
that's basically what's happening.
All right.
Absolutely.
And Lady Paulette.
Hey, Sequestra. It's been forever.
I know.
Hey, thank you for the opportunity. Greetings, ladies. And V. Cali, it's so beautiful. I aim to walk in your shoes one day. I'm Paulette Harris German, affectionately known as Lady Paulette. I'm an actor. I've just written 2 plays, not just, but in the process of writing 2 plays. Producer of the documentary The Story of Lovers Rock and also Looking for Love, directed by Manny Electric Baz. I've been AD on other films as well. So this is me coming back, having raised my boys. So learning to be and to be free. So yes, big learnings right now. And like yourself, Kat, very, very grateful for this time, this season, as I call it, calling it a season.
Yes.
I'm very grateful for I to have rested. I'm supposed to be in LA right now because my nephew was graduating, lots was going on, and COVID said no. So here I am.
Yep. All right. So everyone's introduced themselves. So
Mr. Costa, who are you?
oh, who am I? I mean, you know about me before you came on. I'm the host of Voices from Wise Women, and I'm retired. And this is what I'm doing. And aside from that, I'm just resting. So that's what I'm doing right now. So, but I want to focus more on you guys and what you do in terms of showbiz, because you're all in showbiz. So we just want to talk a little bit about being in showbiz. And so, so what made you, now just kind of put us, so what made you guys want to be in showbiz versus working at a YWCA like I did? What made you want to be in showbiz?
I've just always, my mother went to drama school with Raymond St. Jacques. They went to high school together on the East Coast. And she was Shakespeare buff. So that's what I cut my teeth on. I started doing Shakespeare in junior high school and by the 10th grade, I was in the Los Angeles Shakespeare Festival. So first grade, I started performing, you do little church stuff and whatnot. And when we moved to LA from New England, this was the spot, this was the spot, but I've always written. So it's just one art form. It really is. Because your words, they don't just move the page, they move you. And so you can do anything with it. It's like dancing with words. You choreograph something, it's the same thing. So it was easy to go from doing readings to doing a play to doing a film. It just worked for me like that.
Wow. Okay. So Nima, you sing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it's always been there. Even though I
didn't even know you could sing. I didn't. I saw it. I was like, he sings. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's because I've taken a real kind of circuitous route to being in music. And so, long story, but I've always known ever since I was a child that I love to sing. I love to perform. I've always been creative. I played violin when I was in elementary school. I sang in choirs and choruses, all the time growing up and everything. So it was always there. But there was also that practical side, and I never wanted to be a starving artist. And so I have had, regular jobs and worked in nonprofits and things like that. And as a matter of fact, now I am a wellness manager for a nonprofit organization. And so I've always had, though, that desire to express, and I've always known that there were things that were on my heart that God was putting there that I needed to express to the world. And so, I've done things here and there. I'm also a mother, and, I have an adult son now. And so for a large part of the earlier years of my adulthood, I was raising my son. And so, in order to make sure that he had a good life, I kind of put the music to the side, but it was always there. And, I would sing with different bands here and there. I would, always go to like jam sessions and things like that. I would do background vocals and like also helping other people to do their thing. And so now, as Sister Paulette said, or Tanae, I'm not sure which of you said, now having been on this other side of, raising someone, the focus is squarely on me and, the life that I want to have. And so, I'm pursuing my music more fully, and also, being outside the box, because I've never wanted to deal with the industry in the traditional manner. And I don't know how many of y'all watched that show Unsung, but, we've seen so many times people that we love and admire being, chewed up and spit out basically by the industry. And so I've always wanted to approach it in a way where I could be true to myself and maintain my integrity. So that's, my long journey, but I'm still pursuing it, and like I said, I have my EP that I released called Unity, and the songs are so timely for right now. And I'm in the process of recording new music. So I'm doing it on my own terms and in our home studio.
Okay. Oh, good. That sounds good. So Tanae, actress, come on.
Well, to be honest, my parents inspired me. They were both part of the Theater of Black Arts in Miami, Florida. And Mom used to write, and Dad was a musician and, opened for Jimi Hendrix when he was in the Army. So his whole trajectory was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
Wow.
And my mom took me to my first musical when I was 10. And I remember she kind of surprised me with it to the Miami Beach Convention Center. And I saw cats, and I was blown away. And I was like, I want to be a cat. I want to follow that, And as more and more of their life unfolded, it was like, I felt it was a calling. I still feel it's a calling. And it's a calling to really change the world. It's a calling to contribute and help change within, to inspire others and also be a reflection in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so as these other beautiful women on this line, and including yourself, Shaquestra, we keep moving, we keep going, because it truly is a calling.
Yeah.
It is. It's true. Lady Paulette, so.
Yes, ma'am.
So what?
Similar to Naima, actually. The bug bit me very early on when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. At my primary school, well, we call them primary schools here, but for you would be elementary school. We had like a little lip which we used as our stage, and so we would perform there at playtime and what you guys would call recess. And 3 degrees, so we'd have our little vests tucked in. And we'd just, come on. So we were performing, we were choreographing and directing and all of that. And I was selected at the age of 9 to write the sports reports from our athletic meets and netball matches and so forth, and present them in assembly. So the scores, who scored, where it was, who we were playing against. So it all started very early for me. I think I had my first audition formally at the age of 10.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's always been there. One of my friends was in a film called Black Joy when he was only 6 years old. He was one of my neighbors. So we were all around it from quite early on.
Wow.
So how did you get started in the business? I mean, because someone was asking me, so how did they get started? Like, did you just say, okay, you looked in the newspaper and you saw something, or did you go to classes, or how did you get started in that business?
I think for me personally,
Okay, go ahead.
is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
For me personally, there are a lot of performers locally where I live. There were if you remember earlier in my introduction, I mentioned the documentary, The Story of Lovers Rock. Well, some of those singers like Janet Kay, they all lived locally to me. And so we were always around it. High Tension, one of the band members from High Tension went to my school. So it was always there. So auditions would come up and you would just go to them. So I'm trying to think when I must have been in my first play that I was in called All That Glitters was written and directed by my sister-in-law. And that was when I was 16 years old. So that's kind of how it happened for me. And then you just started follow up. There's a newspaper here called The Stage Newspaper where you get your auditions and so forth. But it was just locally and you just kind of put your hand up and said, I would like to do, I think my first real play was a musical called Black Heroes in the Hall of Fame. And that was in 1987. And I got into that because I met the writer-director in a studio local to me. And I said, I want to audition. He said, come along. I auditioned. And the rest is history.
Right. So, all right. So, Tanae, how did you get started? I know you've always been doing things, but I never knew how you got started.
And excuse me, I had a nice little light, and I guess it decided to take a break, so it's all good. Let's see. Along with the parental influence, I too had a neighbor who was really into dance, and so she started taking dance classes, and I begged my mom, please, can I take dance classes? That was the first. And then there was these here and there auditions in Miami, and I would beg my mom, please, could I go? And I would go there. But I really started getting training when I went to Florida A&M University and started going through their theater program and got a bachelor's in theater arts from there. And yeah, it took off, and the rest is history.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, Nima, you with the singing, so how does one, you sing, you want to sing, so did you just put your band together and you go out there, or what do you do with singing?
Well, I think it depends on which approach that you want to take. Like I mentioned, and some people want to record and do that piece. Some people just want to perform. I actually want to do both. And so like I mentioned, I sang with different bands throughout the years. I also did a little dabbling in theater as well. I was in a play called Brother Dap when I lived in the Bay Area. And I did some dance performance with Reggae on the River, the festival there. Did an African dance routine with a sister, Linda Johnson, and a large group there. But I would say, aside from the, performing with bands, releasing my music online, because the paradigm has shifted so much. I've been an independent artist. And so, whereas before you had gatekeepers where you had to go through an A&R person or, through some label and have someone, walk you in or green light you, I've pretty much like made my own way and, releasing my music online to where people around the world have heard and downloaded my music. And so that's been one way that I've been involved with the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I tried to do a play. I did one play. I could not keep the line straight. It was too much to get into it. So I was like, this is not for me. Poetry, I don't mind. I can get up there, do my poetry. It's my stuff, blah, 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 move on. But the plays, I mean, it's more than a notion. And my granddaughter is really good. She likes theater, and she can get off book in no time. It must have taken me, I was right to the end still trying to remember my line. For me, it doesn't work. I just honor all of you that are able to do that. it's a lot. It's a lot. So V, you not only do poetry, but you run a workshop every week. So talk a little bit about that.
So I came to the world stage in about 1991. So the workshop's been in effect since 1990, and the venue opened in 89, and so we're in our 30th year.
Wow.
And so as a poet, I would just come every week, and do my stuff. And then, as life would have it, that's what happened. Life happened. I was surrounded by. I so as a poet, I would just come every week, and do my stuff. I'm hearing myself. Why is that? And then I'm hearing the recording.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in and help you all. Is somebody playing this broadcast?
I was surrounded.
Mute it.
So, as a poet, I would just come every week.
There you go.
Is that me? Myself. I'm hearing the.
Yeah, if somebody's playing this broadcast, like right now, I'm on YouTube and on Facebook and I'm inviting people and stuff like that. My computer is muted, so you don't hear y'all talking because I'm playing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to see myself down here in the corner? All right. So, in any event, it happened that we're in LA, Leimert Park, and you never know who you're sitting next to. You never know. I mean, one day, I didn't know who Billy Higgins was. I mean, I had albums of it, but I didn't know he was Billy Higgins.
Yeah.
So, I met him in 1982 and had no idea. So one day I walked in one night after coming to the stage. He was playing the guitar. I didn't even know Billy Higgins played. He's the most recorded jazz drummer in history, and he's playing guitar with Juno Lewis, who was on who wrote Kula Se Mama for John Coltrane, and they're hanging out. And I walked into I'm coming in just on my left, and he says, "Well, come sing with me." I said, "I don't sing." Yes, you do. And so I'm singing My Funny Valentine with Billy Higgins and Kula Se Mama, and I have lost my mind because I did pretty good. And then at some point, I'm playing with Horace Tapscott. I'm reading poetry, and Horace Tapscott is playing. I'm like, what universe is this?
Right.
And so one thing always leads to another. The thing was that, and I forgot that in the 70s, when I had studied dance for 10 years. I was at Inner City Cultural Center, and I had been dancing for so long. And then Quincy Jones and Writers Workshop showed up, and they were doing tribute to Marvin Gaye at the Shrine. So I started writing scripts, and I mean, it was a big thing. And I said, well, I've always written. I stopped dancing and started writing. And after that, it was over. It was just over.
Wow.
Yeah. So you do run a workshop. So where is that at, your workshop?
The workshop is in the Leimert Park at the World Stage Arts Education and Performance Gallery. And it's called the Anansi Writers Workshop. And every Wednesday from 7:30 to 10, we are in workshop where the first hour you read a work in progress, get feedback from the house. The next half hour is the open mic, and then an hour, the feature, and then an open mic follows. And we've been doing that every Wednesday, and now we're doing it on Zoom since we've been closed since March. Yeah, March. So, and it's just, Zoom is a piece of cake. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be a piece of cake because I'm not techie like that, but it's working out really well. And the work is stellar because this is fertile ground. This time we're in is fertile ground for all the arts. It's like Harlem Renaissance ain't got nothing on this. Nothing,
Right.
because it's rolling over, and it's like snowballing, it's avalanching.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So since the COVID-19, what are you guys working on? So are you working on anything special? Are you preparing for when things open back up, or what are you working on?
Because it's
Well, for me, our band had we had several dates that were booked already, and so we're kind of looking to see how that's going to look with once things are opening back up, because the whole thing with audiences and being around people and seeing how that's going to look and how everybody's going to be able to be safe. I'm actually working on finishing some recording that I've been doing, and actually earlier this week, just based on some of the events with Brother George Floyd, I just had so many thoughts swirling around that I had some lyrics, that have just been coming to me. So I've been writing and just preparing for
actually working on
when we're going to be able to perform again.
And actually, earlier this week, just based on some of the events with Brother George Floyd, I just had so many thoughts swirling around that I had some lyrics.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to see something's going on, and I'm trying to make sure that it's not me doing something, and I don't think.
Okay, so what I did, I'm muting people. So like I just muted Sister Paulette, and then the echo stopped.
Okay.
That playback. So somebody's playing something back as we're watching. Like as I'm talking to y'all here, there's another computer on the side of me that I'm playing y'all back, but my whole computer's muted. So that way when I'm on, you don't hear that echo of what's happening.
I don't think.
So you can go ahead and talk. I think Paulette, you may have to adjust something where you're at. Because I muted you because I could hear that echo. I mean, it went away when I muted just you.
Okay.
Like you're back.
Okay.
Can you hear anything?
Oh, I can hear that. Yeah. Okay. All right, Nima, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. So I was just saying that, I've been writing. I've been writing constantly, and, started working on or continuing with the recording that I've done. And I have songs that I have started that I'm in the process of finishing so that I can release that. So the recording is what we can do, while we can't perform and be around people. At some point in the near future, I will be probably doing some lives, although I have to confess I'm not a big live person. That's something that I'm working on getting more comfortable with. If somebody else films me, I'm okay with it, but like going live on social media, that would be, something that I need to get more used to doing. So, but yeah, I anticipate recording and at least posting some videos and things like that. My husband is a musician and we do music together. So I think that we will be recording and posting some things in the near future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know, Paulette, you're doing some things. I know that.
I have, similar to Naima, and I guess all of us, COVID has kind of locked down everything that we had in the pipeline. I've kind of ventured back out into stand-up comedy, which I used to do. I dipped my toe in about 20 years ago, and I'm back. And I'm just starting to kind of like take traction, and then COVID happened. So all the gigs I had lined up have been kind of put on hold for now. There's been a lot of online stuff, but I wasn't kind of really up for that. So what I decided to do, over here, I'm sure there as well, there's been lots of volunteering taking place with people either doing meals for the community, or here we have the National Health Service who are run ragged with trying to support and work with the patients that were coming in rapidly. So people were like cooking food and giving it to them. But I have had some health challenges myself, which meant I couldn't take the risk of going out. So it just like, me, Shaquesha, I'm a can do, will do, got to be out there. So it's been really difficult to just sit still and just be. So I was thinking, what could I do that would, should my grandchild, which I don't have as yet, be Callie, but soon, hopefully, when they say, you know, Grandma, what did you do in COVID to help? I would have something that I could say. So I have 2 one-woman plays that I've written. The shorter one, which is 15 minutes, I thought I could put that out. Ironically, it's about the NHS nurses, but the Windrush NHS nurses, which are the nurses that came over from the Caribbean in the 1958 and worked for the NHS, built up this country. They not only worked as nurses, but they also worked as bus drivers on the railways, in the factories, all the jobs that the natives didn't want to do, you know, the usual. And so for those of you who are across the Windrush circle, here we are 70 years later, and they're being deported because their papers were burnt and so forth. So my local authority, which would be like LA County or something like that, here it's the London Borough of Brent where I live, commissioned me to write a piece to celebrate the anniversary of the Windrush and also the NHS. Just a 15-minute piece that would slot into their program. So that's been in my laptop for a minute, and I've been approached by people to kind of like do it on radio and so forth, and I weren't really feeling it because, excuse me, I hadn't performed it live as many times as I would like to kind of like gain some traction with it. But with losing people in COVID, I've lost some very close old school friends to COVID. And I just thought, my God, I could die tomorrow, and this play would just die in my laptops. And I thought, let me just put it out there. It's a serious subject, but I've done it with humor, hence the comedy. I've done it with humor. It will bring some joy. It will raise awareness. It will flag up our legacy of what our parents did when they came to this country. And also just as a reminder of whose shoulders we stand on. So I thought I'd put it out there as part of a GoFundMe campaign. People could watch it and then donate. The donations will go to the NHS. There's also a foundation called the Windrush Nurses and Beyond Foundation, which was founded by a gentleman by the name of Bob Foster and also Sandy. Sandy's name's gone out of my head at the moment. But they founded it, and it was to keep, again, the legacy of these nurses alive. So they go into schools, they give talks around what was happening during that time in the 40s, 50s, 60s in this country, and just keep their legacy alive. They put on awards or gala dinners for them. They're now in their late 60s, 70s, and some are in their 80s. And they've never really been celebrated. They've never been really appreciated. And like I said, you know, now some of them are facing this travesty of being deported back to whichever island they came from because their paperwork were destroyed deliberately. Wow. So that's my contribution. So the 15-minute play has 3 characters. Miss Florence is based on my mum, and in the original play, it's called Fashion in a Dream. Miss Florence, I play 6 characters in that. The original play I wrote as part of my degree when I did my BA, about 20 years ago. And it was really interesting because at the time it was marked down for, you know, being sentimental and so forth. And it was really interesting because I was like, it wasn't until 5 years later, and I'm sure you'll be able to attest to this, is that art is subjective. So who was they to label, you know, my creative output about my legacy, my story, my mum, and mark me down? So I had an opportunity 2 years ago to revisit that script, which has now been fleshed out. And so part of the funds that I'm going to be raising on the GoFundMe page will also go for R&D, research and development, and it's kind of like getting me ready to finish that project and put it out on tour. Oh, wow.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Thank you today. That's great. Thank you. But getting ready to come back out after COVID, really. Scary, Mary.
Yeah. So, Janae, what you been doing?
Well, for the past couple of years, I have a co-writer in New York City as well as a dramaturge in Virginia. And we've been developing a play called Who is Sambo? It's based on the book called Who is Sambo by Stephen Mackey, who actually resides here in Houston. So that's right. So we did a stage reading in Virginia. We did a stage reading in Los Angeles, actually. So now it's going through another workshopping, and hopefully we'll have this will be about our third or fourth draft coming up really, really soon. The original intention was to have it play in Brazil. At the time, before the current president, Brazilians were very, very, very interested in the African American experience. So we were preparing it for that. And hopefully that door is still open, even though the current president is who he is. Outside of that, I'm working on some short films, completing those, some short stories. And one short film is really actually based on my mom. She grew up in segregation in Miami, Florida. And she always would share with me her experiences of even just trying to go to the library. And she's an avid reader. So I was like, wow, that's deep. Let me type this up. So then that story and a couple other stories I really want to, complete during this time while I have the time. So we get ready to shoot.
And so, Tanae, you moved from LA to Texas. So how does that work? Because I know there's a lot of opportunities in Los Angeles versus where you are.
Well, interestingly enough, the mayor here is very, 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 very pro art. Okay. So there are grants that are available. Of course, there are guidelines, be here for 6 months, etc. But he's extremely supportive of the arts. So that's been encouraging. And I found a lot of parallels between Houston and LA. Even though LA is very focused on film, Houston has a budding film community as well, and also a strong theater community. And generationally, there's so many Houstonites that have, relatives in LA, right, V? And so many people in LA got, relatives in Houston. So it's almost like a nickname I call it is a sister city. And I didn't know that really. I did some research before I came, but living here, I didn't realize how close Houston and LA are. They're very, very, very connected.
Okay. So you all are in the arts, but you also have a side job as well to kind of support you in the arts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if someone or a woman wanted to go into the arts, would you say that it would be advantageous for her to keep her job that she has to be able to support the arts as she's moving up the ladder?
Yeah. Go on there, man. I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I've always worked full time, predominantly. It's only probably since 2018 that I've not worked full time and done my performances. When I was doing Black Heroes in '87, my eldest son was 3, and he was with me at rehearsal so often that they put him in the play. Okay. So we did the play for a year together. So I'd literally drop him at nursery, go to work, do a day's work, go to nursery, pick him up, drive to the theatre, or take the bus or the tube, train to the theatre, do the show, and come home. We did that for a year. I think you do need to kind of be able to have your bread and butter money to be able to support yourself, because it's so stressful otherwise, unless you get that big one hit, you know?
Or unless you have a sponsor. Unless you have a sponsor or someone who is supporting you pursuing your art, and if that person, if you have an agreement between the two of you that person is going to carry the weight financially while you pursue your dreams, but that is not necessarily the case oftentimes, and especially once we become parents and are pursuing the arts. And so I've always worked like you, sis, since I was a teenager, actually. So, and, the idea and I can see for some people who feel like this is the only thing that I want to do, and so I'm going to do it by hook or by crook. And some people do do what they need to do in that manner through determination, but also the assistance of others. But that's not everybody's path. And so, you know, I think for each person, they have to look at what their circumstances are. You know, I was raised with a practical mom. And so that's why, you know, it was always in her mind and mine that I was going to go to college, you know. And, you know, my mom was a nurse. And so I think, you know, we were oftentimes raised with the idea that, okay, well, you know, you're going to go to college and you're going to get a job. And so, you know, for me, my thing was always, well, what is second best to me? If I can't do music as a career, if I can't, you know, get paid to do that which I love, what would be second best? And so that's where, you know, going that route and having careers, and at least having a career that is somewhat aligned with things that you want to do so that it's bearable. But it helps to be able to have that foundation to support and invest in yourself while you're pursuing that passion.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, can I just add something to what Naima said quickly? Because when Naima mentioned a sponsor, it popped into my head, and Tanae and V. Cali, you may be familiar with it as well. There's an initiative called Patreon, which is it's a crowdsourcing platform, but it's a subscription-based one. So it's similar to, like, say you pay your $7.99 for Netflix per month. A person could commit themselves to an amount of money to support you in your craft per month. So as little as maybe £2. Issa Rae uses it. Issa Rae has a Patreon. It's Patreon. And you do that in exchange for rewards. So you give your patrons an award, maybe, I don't know, an inside Zoom with you specifically on a specific day, or a signed script, or something, some kind of reward that you build up, but they contribute to you a X amount per month. So it's worth having. That's something that a listener or somebody who's looking to go into the arts could explore as well.
Question, if I can just add this really quickly, it's really thinking about yourself as being an entrepreneur. I know, you know, many of us were raised in kind of, and at least for me, in my imagination, the romantic notion of being an artist and struggling, and it's not fun. It's not fun when you struggle as an artist at all. So you really have to think of yourself really as a business person. And how do you continue to bring income in? And that may be many different venues and keeping it legal, yes. But and then also fulfilling at the same time. And that doesn't necessarily, because I know a lot of times various artists feel stuck. Oh, I'm stuck in this, I'm stuck in that. And it's not so much about being stuck. It's using that income to invest, as Naima said, in who you are and continuing on that entrepreneurial plan. So yes, you can expand your platform. And that's, I think, how actually artists younger than us have seen it because of the digital age. So this has been this outlet that they can think like that, versus when I was coming up, it was a little bit different. And no harm, no foul. It's just you have to think like that as an artist in order to provide for yourself.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So V, I always noticed you've always cooked. You've always had all kind of hustles and things going on.
My mother used to tell me, she said, you have no visible means of support. And I was like, what the hell does that mean?
Right.
But you had good jobs. You worked at the phone company, the insurance company. I said, yeah, but it was driving me bats. I was insane. I even went to nursing. I graduated from nursing school after I turned 50. You know, and I thought that nursing was going to fund me being an artist. I first became vegan in 1976. How I had all my babies at home. What am I doing here? I couldn't give another patient 15 medications 4 times a day. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And what really, and I thought I could just do on the periphery, I could just do a little bit. I was at Centinela Hospital, got my patient, before I went to my patient, I got the chart, and I always have a pen in my hair, or 2 or 3, right? Just for when when the line comes, and you must write it down somewhere. And I wrote it in the margins of the chart in ink. I said, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. I can't, you know what I mean? Because this is why I breathe. You know, working 9 to 5s, I had 3 children. I would be up till 5 o'clock in the morning writing, and then jump in the shower, get them ready for the what? You know, so I had to, you know, bite the bullet and say, you know, this is how we're gonna live. And it fed me spiritually, didn't feed me. Thank God I could cook. Get down like that and seasonally do what worked for me. And it's been a challenge because I'm not really that disciplined on it. You know, I kind of get woo-wooey and, you know, woo. But now that I'm in this age bracket, right? And all the children have left, although I am responsible for one of my grandchildren. And so it's just I'm learning that if I had learned to take care of myself the way I take care of other people earlier on, I'd have been straight. But we have that, you know, on the cross business. You know, we got to sacrifice, and we don't have to sacrifice ourselves. We never have to do that. We never do.
So before you, let me ask you a question. So before you go on the stage, do you have a ritual or anything that you do every time before you go? Like for me, I always gotta go to the bathroom. Every time I go, like people say, how much time is it gonna go on in 5 minutes? I gotta go to the bathroom. So that's I always gotta go to the bathroom.
And the other thing is, I can't eat before performing.
I can't eat.
Yeah.
I can't eat.
I can't eat because I start to do this, and once I almost fainted.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Food, you know, digesting and doing something different, it doesn't work. So, I have to just really, because I'm always nervous. I've been doing this. I've been writing for 50 years. I mean, that I've been keeping track of, and so I am always nervous. I often don't know where I am. I mean, it's like that, and I'll have a set, you know, in mind, and then I'll read something because Spirit tells me to read something else.
Yep.
And then folks will say, well, that was, and I don't remember what happened. I was just doing that for them.
Yeah.
And so,
it depends on what you're doing. Now, Tanae, do you have something that you do?
I do. I'm very similar to Bikali. I cannot eat. But I do make sure I use the bathroom at least 2 hours ahead of time. I have to because it gets crazy. And I do a prayer to the ancestors and whichever character I'm playing. And, you know, I pray about the spirit of that character and I do a personal prayer and change somebody's life before I go on. And every single performance.
Yeah. So Nima, what about you?
Well, I go to the bathroom too. I go to the bathroom, and I definitely cannot go on stage with a full stomach. I mean, you know, and oftentimes I'm gigging places where there's a lot of food there, and like sometimes my bandmates are eating. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like I have to feel a lightness, and before I go on stage, and also I do pray as well, you know, and I ask God to anoint my voice, and you know, just allow me to be a vessel. And, you know, just try to get out of my own way. But, that's pretty much it.
And Paulette, do you have something?
Similar to the ladies, the restroom features very highly. It depends on what I'm doing. Because I'm a live event host as well. So as long as I've got the biogs and stuff like that, that's a much easier gig. And usually you have to kind of, or I have to, almost produce from the stage, because you've always got to know like who's next supposed to be that you're meant to be introducing and so forth. If you haven't got a runner, you're going to be using eye contact and all of this. It's very different. If I'm doing a play similar to Tanae, I will meditate on it. I'll breathe because I get very, very nervous. And then like the one where I'm doing my mum, I will say, right, mum, you ready? You ready? Cool, let's go. And I'll go. I literally like I'll call in the spirit of the character, similar to what Tanae's saying. Like, I was playing a character called Margaret last year, and it was like, okay, so we're rolling, sis, let's go. And there's a lot of breathing that has to take place.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we had a question that came in, and someone wanted to know, how does the world events affect your art? How do the world events that are going on affect your art?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question.
It is a
Well,
good question.
For me, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, you know, when things are happening, I put pen to paper, you know, and you know, one of the things for us as artists is that we are the voice of, you know, what is happening, and, you know, we're the storytellers about what's happening. And so we're observing it, we're feeling it as well. You know, this week I've been really emotional and angry and, you know, all kinds of things. But at the same time, you know, just with COVID and that's compounded everything. You know, it's been a really sensitive time. There's been a lot of grief, you know, and even, you know, I've learned recently that someone that I care about, you know, passed away from COVID. And so, you know, we're definitely affected. You know, we're here, we're in this experience just like everybody else. And I think that, you know, for us, allowing ourselves to translate it in a manner that people can receive it is one of our roles. And so definitely writing and, you know, whether it's going to come out in a blog or in a song, you know, it's going to come out. So, yeah.
Anybody else? World events? How that affects your art?
Because it's spirit driven, you know, we're connected. Well, we're willing to be connected. We made an agreement with spirit to do this work.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would do that, I think. You know, be on call 24/7, wake up in the middle of the night to write stuff. I learned to write in my sleep without turning on the light, you know. I don't watch so much media, you know, like I didn't see I refuse to see the video. I'm just not going to do that. But I've heard enough to know what occurred. And it came to me the other day and I said, he was calling his mother. I said, his mother was calling him. She was right. She was calling him out of that minute. I already know this. So I said, there are things that are seen and unseen, and we are the conduits.
Yeah.
To make that to make the world aware of what's really going on. Yeah. And so we're plugged in forever and always.
And you know what, Vidi said that because I was talking to Rolanda and we were talking about how things shifted from the 70s and 80s and, you know, how did it come about and whatever. And I was telling her it was the music and the poetry was coming out. It was the music that was coming out. It was the art that had the symbolism and all of that. And then the young people picked up the narrative, and that's how we got into that whole Black Power movement. But it's always the poets, the arts that always lead the way, and then it drives it, and then everyone else, kind of like sheeple, they fall right into it. And so we're talking about how we need to get back into that. And I was saying it's got to be the music, the art, all of it, because that's what got us out of it. The music started going toward another kind of way, and then shifted that way. So it's very important. The arts are so important to drive culture and to drive different countries. So somebody said, what advice can you give a new upcoming actor to be seen or get started? What advice can you give somebody who wants to be an actor?
I would say, you know, let me talk about a little bit of my journey. Before, when, you know, coming out to Los Angeles, I was really centered on understanding that this is what I do. And somewhere in there it changed into, come see me, come see me. I think in starting out as an artist, whichever venue you choose, whether it's poetry, visual arts, know your intention of why you're doing this. And that will drive you. It's very easy to go to the workshops to find an agent, which you can do, and encourage you to do. And, you know, when you look into publications like Black Backstage and different things, yes, that is a way.
Well, give those publications again.
Backstage, Actors Access.
Okay.
I know in LA used to be LA Casting, but I think it's called Casting Networks now. I think that's what the new name is now. And interestingly enough, because we are in COVID, there are casting directors who are on Instagram actually publicizing open calls. They always want you to have a headshot. In film and television, they do want you to have what's called a demo reel or reel. If you don't have that, get a monologue, memorize it, sit in front of your camera like we are now, and you know, audition that way and upload it.
Okay.
So there are many different ways, but if you're really pursuing this, like we said, this is a calling. Understand your intention and understand as you learn more and you get wiser with age, it is going to shift, but that doesn't mean however spirit leads you, it's time to leave. It just means that you're growing.
Okay.
And to understand that and stick with that.
And you have to be thick-skinned too. There's
Yes.
a lot of rejection. I can't handle it, so I don't even try. I'm like, oh my God, you didn't want me. What did I do? So I know that's part of it. Anybody else want to chime in for a new person? What do they need to do?
I think what I would add to what Tanae said, which is all correct. We're here in the UK, so it's a little. I'm here in the UK. It's a little bit different, but the same. We have casting networks here as well today, a UK version, but I think it's just the UK the same. One of the things I would suggest is to write for yourself and start putting stuff out there yourself. If you've got your training, go to classes and so forth. But you write about the intention and your focus as to what it is, who you are as a performer, what is it you want to achieve, and what does success in the arts look like for you? Because I say that because I've just recently started watching an episode on, a series on Netflix called Hollywood.
Yes.
And I had to stop watching it because it was just so disappointing, because we know where it's ended up. It's gone the whole other scale to Mr. Weinstein, you know. So I had to have to start right, what is it I actually want from this industry? Why is it that I'm performing? Because if that's not the outcome that I want for myself, yes, I'd like to be working at that level, but those aren't necessarily the sacrifices I want to make.
Exactly.
So are there any actresses or actors or directors that you really like and you really like? Yeah, that's where I want to go. Is there anyone out there that you kind of look up to or focus on? Or
for me personally,
what do you like?
At the moment, I'm really enjoying the work of Lena Waithe and her spirit and how she works and how she gets stuff done. And of course, Ava DuVernay, for sure. Yeah, those are the trailblazers for me, you know.
Me too, definitely Ava DuVernay, for sure.
Okay. Name a singer. Who do you like? Who's your go-to person? Who you got in your list? You know, your
my goodness. So many people. My taste is so eclectic, but you know, it's funny that you asked that, because I was just thinking about you know, artists in the past who have been conscious and led the way. So I was thinking about like Curtis Mayfield, you know, and the music that he did, Marvin Gaye, you know, and of course James Brown would say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, but you know, there have been so many. I love Minnie Riperton. I'm a soprano, and you know, earlier Sister Rolanda was playing Roberta Flack. I love Roberta. I love Shaka. I love so many people. Patti LaBelle, Anita Baker, Layla Hathaway. And so, but I also love like the Sarah Vaughns, the Ella Fitzgerald, you know, the Billie Holiday. So my influences and what I listen to come from all over. Yeah.
And V, you with the poets. What do you got with the poets?
Oh man, you know, there's some outstanding poets in LA that, I mean, outstanding. Johnny Jackson has me lay down there. I lay down at his feet at a gig once. People were just, before I fall down, let me just lay down at his feet. And I put my hair on the stage. I just lay down. Let him. I said, just go ahead, because I'm gonna end up on the floor either way.
Right.
So what he does is incredible, and he writes every day, incorporating what's happening. And it's just I couldn't be that plugged in.
Yeah.
There's Amdi, Father Amdi from the Watts Prophets.
Right.
Mal Daoud,
I
Jahaz.
love Peter J. Harris.
Peter J. Harris is my boy. You know, that's my little brother.
I love him. He's good.
Cam Ward, Chisei, Ajay, they just, you know, and some young folks, Bridget Bianca, just
Right.
some folks who've come from out of space.
Exactly.
And this, I've never done poetry before. What do you mean? Well, I never read it out loud. Where did you come from? You've been
Right.
all over.
There's some good ones. It's some good ones for sure.
So
we're getting toward the end, ladies. So I want you to think about, what do you want to leave young women? What do you want to leave them with in terms of, if they want to go into showbiz? What are some of the pitfalls you know you want to make sure that they don't fall into some of those experiences that you had that you want young girls not to have?
It's really about life. It's, you know, life is the poetry. Life is, so, you know, if you're taking really good care of yourself first, you're not gonna fall but so far. And when you watch other people and you see they fell in the hole, don't do what they did to get in the hole. You know what I mean? It's just, if you think that you could jump over the hole because you got legs,
right?
Don't do it. Don't do it. You know, pay close attention and listen. Ask questions. Ask people questions, because they'll tell you the truth. Yeah.
Right. Somebody just sent me something also too on the text, and so they were asking about your age, not about your age, but sometimes they worry about their age as well.
Oh.
You know, as they're getting older, people are saying, "Can I still do this?" You know, so in terms of them, so you want to say, I want you to give them some pitfalls and some words of wisdom, and address the thing about the age as well.
I was in my 40s when I really started. I mean, being visible.
Okay.
I was in probably my mid 40s. I don't think about age, because the longer you live, the more chance you have to do it again the next day. You know, all this ageism. You know, we don't die, we multiply, right? So that's for somebody else. That's for another segment of America.
Okay.
We continue.
Right.
We continue.
That's right.
So Tanae, you're one of the youngest out of the wise women. You're not exactly in there, but you're almost in there. So what would you want to tell? What do you want to leave words of wisdom for somebody?
I would say for younger women regarding age, because that was something I did think about when I was younger. Don't worry about it. It's really, you know, what was told to me, and let me just be real, for white women, maybe it's 10 years in the industry, Black women is 20. We began to shine in our 40s, in our 50s, and above that. And some people may say, well, why does it take so long? Well, yeah, racism contributes to that. But the other side of that is your own maturity shines through on the camera. Think about these women who are really carrying themselves right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's something that's deep and something that's in depth. And when you know who you are, no matter how many times you are rejected, they can't tell you who you are. There's a difference to know that between when you were 20, and I'll speak from my experience, 20, 28 to where I am now. Nah, like I know, I got this. Thank you so much. You know, I'll come. Thank you. I'll create it myself. I appreciate it. Thanks. And you can join me now. It's a whole different kind of thing. So I wouldn't even worry about age. Just create your art. That's what's important, because as I've been told, and I know everybody on this line has been told, that's what the world needs. Your art, your voice.
Right.
That's what's important.
Yep. Paulette.
I know leaves more room for all the yeses that are yet to come.
That's true.
I think for me, being like I'm in my mid-50s now, just gone past my mid-50s, and it's about mindset. I've been like really challenged with mind and so forth. So I've been doing the work, the background work behind the scenes to try and make myself emotionally, mentally, physically stronger. So this is one of the gifts that this COVID season has given me, getting back out there, walking, running, really focusing. I've been able to let go of smoking. Yes. No idea. And just really kind of getting myself ready for the new season. So it's about what are you reading? What are you listening to? As V was saying, don't expose yourself too much to the negativity, because part of it is a distraction, you know? So it's about focusing on what is it I actually want to achieve? How am I going to achieve it? For me, like I go to what I call the University of YouTube and just keep genning up. Okay, what's the self-tape? What does the self-tape entail? Who's doing a free webinar? You know, just keep jumping on it, but staying fit and keeping supplements, keeping your immunity high. So the supplements, I've reintroduced supplements and I'm running and jogging. So for me, that's the age thing. And I think just keep writing like the ladies have said, and just pushing your vision and not what's going on externally.
And I think that's important. I really want to see more stories about Black women and as they get older, because I see a lot about young, but I don't see a lot about older women and them being in relationships and them loving and having sex and all that kind of things that young people do, because that's what old people do. But we don't really see that portrayed as much in the film or TV or whatever. So I'm just really hoping that we see more and more, because a lot of us baby boomers will start moving toward, and I would love to see more and more stories, you know, about that. I love Queen Sugar. Cherish the Day. I like that. So I'm looking for more content in terms of black relationships. And I think once again, when we talk about the arts and how that moves us forward, we see more healthy relationships, I think, on TV that kind of helps with the consciousness of our people, that we can have those kind of relationships, that we do have those, because we know, all of us know people that have been married for years, you know, and have been in really great relationship, but we don't see a lot of that on television. A lot of young people, that's all they see is TV, and that's what they model themselves after, what they see. So I would definitely love to see more and more programs that have good Black relationships. Or in plays in that as well, or hearing about them before. And I think that's how we can start to move the narrative and start moving the consciousness of Black people toward that kind of Black love again. It's my living. So what's the parting words? We're getting toward the end. So you have a parting word or something you'd like to share, one parting word, whatever it is you want to share. Anyone?
Laugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Laugh.
Oh my God, yes.
And play.
What color?
Play. I said, and play.
Oh, and play.
Play. You know, do cartwheels. You know, somebody asked me on a radio interview the other day, what have I been doing to stay fit during this period? I've reintroduced my hula hoop. So I've been hula hooping.
Oh, nice.
Friends, a demonstration outside my front. I live on a main road. And I'm on the main road hula hooping and trying to play, just keeping it light.
Yeah. I would just say, be well, you know, take care of yourself mentally, you know, guard your vibration. And like the sisters have said, you know, be mindful of what you consume, not just through your mouth, but through your senses, through, you know, our eyes. I mean, you know, what we watch.
Out of my head. Because I have an herbalist now, because I have really gained some weight, and I am just like, it's not my body. So I'm really I have an herbalist, and I'm going through it, because I'll be next to December, I'll be 70. So I'm like, okay, you got to really, you know, do some things and set it up.
Next what? Your question, next what?
This year I'll be 69, and then December of 2021 I'll be 70.
I'm just a month.
I'm excited about it.
Yes.
Moving into my 7s. Okay. Yeah.
Y'all are my heroes.
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna have to be at the Sweat Lodge. I got a whole thing I'm gonna do.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yeah,
We'll get to that sweat lodge.
Come to LA and we'll
Yeah,
do
I
it.
am. Oh, yeah, definitely got to do a Sweat Lodge down
All
there.
right, we need to put that in the diary.
Well, let me see if
There
okay.
is one thing I wanted to add to what Vikali said regarding no, and what someone imparted this wisdom to me. No means next opportunity.
Ooh.
Next
Ah,
opportunity.
Ooh, I love it.
that's good.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you just put a period on it right now. Wow.
Oh God, so that's
Next opportunity. I'm keeping that one.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much for, being on here, and Paulette for, it's late there, so I appreciate you. And I definitely want to do some more things with you, do some things with all of you. Next week, we're going to have women, wise women who travel with purpose. So I got a sister comes on who travels all over, but she always has a purpose when she goes. So Sister Naila is going to be on next week, and she's like, "Hey sis, what you doing? You got, I'm getting ready to go to Bali next week. What? I'm getting ready to go to China. I'm getting ready to go." So she travels all over. So I'm definitely going to have her come in and talk about how she travels and what that's like, and what's going on.
And she travels spiritually too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Definitely. So I just want to say, thank you very much for checking in with us. Peace, bliss, and blessings. Be safe. Stay at home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Peace and love, everybody.
Oh, thank you, Sequester.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Stay out.